Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and surprising facts from a stack of sources, all for you. Today, we're embarking on a journey that, well, it truly defies imagination. Imagine a single night where the very boundaries of time and space seem to just stretch and yield. A journey so profound it's considered one of the greatest miracles ever. That's precisely what we're exploring. We're diving into Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, the incredible night journey and ascension of Prophet Muhammad. And just a quick note for those unfamiliar, when you hear us say Prophet Muhammad fi, that horse stands for Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, an Arabic prayer meaning peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Hi to Bert. It's just a way we honor the Prophet throughout our discussion.
Indeed. And Al-Isra refers to that miraculous night journey, specifically from Makkah to Jerusalem. And Al-Mi'raj, that's the subsequent ascension into the heavens. These aren't just, stories. They are foundational, absolutely pivotal events in Islamic history. They're explicitly mentioned in the Quran itself, in Surah Al-Isra and Surah An-Najm. So our mission today is really to uncover the most important insights and, yes, some surprising details from the many accounts of this extraordinary journey, helping you truly grasp its significance.
Exactly. This deep dive is tailor-made for you, the curious learner. You'll gain an understanding not just of what happened, but why it matters, how it's understood, and, well, the profound lessons it holds for us today. It really is a shortcut to being well-informed about a moment that truly reshaped faith. Okay, so to kick things off, let's tackle a common misconception head-on. Was this journey simply a dream, maybe a vision, or was it something tangible and, physical?
Right, that's a really common question. And many people do incorrectly believe it was purely spiritual, or like only his soul traveled, or maybe even just a dream. But the sources are pretty clear on this. This was a physical journey. It happened in one single night. And honestly, the strongest evidence for this lies in the reaction of the Quraysh, the powerful tribe in Makkah, the Prophet Muhammad's key contemporaries. Think about it. If it had been merely a dream, they wouldn't have rejected and ridiculed him so intensely, would they? Especially when they pointed out, quite practically, that a return trip to Jerusalem by camel would take them a full month. Their outrage. It confirms the physical nature.
That's a crucial distinction right at the start. Absolutely. Now, here's something I find particularly intriguing. For an event of such monumental significance, you'd expect a clear, widely agreed upon date, right? Yet, our sources reveal a surprising lack of consensus on when exactly Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj occurred.
That's absolutely right. And it is fascinating. There's actually no single authentic date passed down from any of the Prophet's CME's companions. Early scholars like Imam Ibn Ishaq, they lean towards it happening about 1 year before the Prophet's sea migration to Medina. This time frame puts it after the year of sadness, a really difficult period marked by the death of his wife Khadijah and his uncle Abu Talib, and also after his challenging journey to Taif. That's generally seen as the strongest opinion among historians. And Aisha's narration, stating Khadijah died before Salah, the prayer, became obligatory, that further supports it occurring within the last year and a half of the Meccan era. Now, later scholars, they do propose various dates, Rajab, Rabi al-Awwal, Ramadan, Shawwal, but none are definitively transmitted from the companions or those earliest generations. And this non-preservation of a specific date, it actually carries a profound wisdom, I think. It highlights that this event isn't meant to be singled out for specific acts of worship or celebration on a fixed calendar day. As for the 27th of Rajab, which you hear about a lot.
Well, that date became widely accepted much later, maybe 4th to 6th centuries after Hijrah, mostly through oral transmission storytelling, but it just has no authentic basis. Major scholars like Imam al-Suyuti, Imam ibn Rajab al-Hanabli, Imam al-Nawawi, Imam ibn Kathir, they all noted its lack of definitive proof.
Okay, that makes sense. So the focus isn't the when, but the what and why. So understanding it was a physical, miraculous journey, let's delve into how it began. Where did it start? And what preparations were made for the Prophet Jafio?
Well, it began with a profound preparation, both spiritual and physical, the opening of his chest. This sacred event, it occurred either in the Hatim area near the Kaaba, or maybe in the Prophet's house, and then he was taken to the Kaaba. Angel Jibril, that's Archangel Gabriel, opened his chest from his throat down to his abdomen. His heart was then gently washed with Zamzam water, the blessed water from Makkah, and refilled with wisdom and belief. It's interesting, this was actually the second time this happened. The first was when he was a child, and a black spot, like a symbol of evil, was removed. The wisdom behind this preparation, it was to purify and strengthen the Prophet's heart, preparing him, body and soul, for the incredible experiences ahead.
Wow, that's quite a preparation. And then the means of transport, the Burak. What can you tell us about this mysterious creature? The name itself sounds, well, electric.
It does, doesn't it? The Buraq is described as being smaller than a mule but bigger than a donkey, and pure white. Its name, yes, it comes from Barak, which means lightning. A perfect description for its incredible speed. Its stride was so immense that its step would reach the farthest point the eye could possibly see. What's interesting, and worth clarifying, is that any mentions you might hear of the Barak having wings or, human-like features, they're baseless, completely inauthentic, popular myths, really. Apparently, it shied away initially from the prophetee, but Jibril admonished it, sort of reminding it of the immense honor, which also confirms it had been written by other prophets before, maybe Prophet Ibrahim, some accounts suggest.
A powerful image indeed, celestial travel. So why Jerusalem? Why was Masjid al-Aqsa, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the destination for the first leg, especially starting from Makkah? What's the significance there?
The significance of Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa is, well, it's multifaceted, deeply profound. Firstly, it was chosen to display Allah's infinite might, his power, his signs. At that time, you have to remember, the Kaaba in Makkah was unfortunately filled with idols. Both the Kaaba and Al-Aqsa, they hold this unique status as first places of worship, and they both served as qiblas, directions of prayer, for past prophets. So this journey powerfully highlighted Prophet Muhammad's leadership as the imam of both the qiblas. It signified his role as the successor, the culmination of all previous prophets, especially Prophet Ibrahim. It also underscored Al-Aqsa's huge importance as the land of the prophets. So many messengers lived, preached, and are buried there. And some scholars even believe Al-Aqsa is uniquely special, perhaps like the only portal or window to the heavens from the earth, a point from which prophets Idris, Isa, and our Prophet Muhammad ascended, and where Prophet Isa will descend again at the end of times. Plus, it's destined to be the future site for huge events. The killing of the Dajjal, the Antichrist, the prevalence of Islam, the final gathering of humanity, the start of the final hour. Its connection to so much, it really underscores its sacred status.
That's incredible. So many layers. Did the Prophet Isa make any other stops on his way to Jerusalem, or was it a direct flight, so to speak?
There are some narrations, suggesting stops to pray at places like Medina, Mount Sinai, Bethlehem, where Prophet Isa was born. However, it's really crucial to note that the authenticity of these specific narrations is disputed among scholars.
Yeah.
What is authentically established is that he traveled directly from Mecca to Jerusalem, although interestingly, on the way, he did pass by and see Prophet Musa praying in his grave near a red mound. That's a remarkable detail itself.
Quite a vision indeed. So when he arrived, what was Jerusalem like, and what did he witness there before the ascension into the heavens began?
Right, upon arrival in Jerusalem, the prophet Gidi was shown a powerful symbolic vision. He saw the world, dunya, like an old woman, wearing lots of jewelry. This vision really signifies the transient, almost deceptive nature of worldly life, enticing but ultimately fading. The Burak was then tied to a rock near what we now call the Wailing Wall. At that time, it was likely the only standing remnant of Al-Aqsa because the structure had been largely destroyed by the Romans. Then came an extraordinary moment. All the prophets of Allah were gathered, and Prophet Muhammad led them as imam in prayer. This is incredibly significant. It shows that Salah, the concept of ritual prayer, was known right from the beginning of prophethood. Though the specific 5 daily prayers, those were only enjoined later, during the miraj itself. There is some scholarly discussion on when this prayer happened. Imam Ibn Kathir argues it was after the miraj upon the prophets he returned to Al-Aqsa as an extra mark of honor, with Jibril introducing the prophets then. And finally, while still in Beit al-Maqiz, he was offered 2 vessels, 1 milk, 1 wine. He chose the milk.
Jibril commented, "All praise is due to Allah who has guided you to that which is in accordance with the fitra, natural disposition. Had you selected wine, your people would have gone astray." A very symbolic choice. Milk representing purity, nourishment, the natural state of Islam. Wine representing corruption, deviation.
Makes sense. From Jerusalem, the journey went upwards, ascending into the heavens. How did this ascension, this miraj, actually happen? Are there specific details about the mechanism, or is it something sort of beyond our grasp?
Well, linguistically, Al-Mi'raj just means an instrument or means to ascend. Simple as that. Now, some narrations do describe something like a ladder of silver and gold coming down from the highest paradise, Jannah al-Firdaus, encrusted with pearls, surrounded by angels. But the Prophet Athani himself, he left out the details of the exact mechanism. The key thing is there are no authentic narrations detailing it, like, ladders descending from the sky, etc. So as Muslims, our approach is really to submit, believe it happened physically, just as described, without getting lost in the how. Allah is all-powerful. For him, this is easy. Oh, and it's also important to mention the popular belief that the specific rock in the dome of the rock is the ascension point. That's baseless. No authentic narration supports it.
That's a good reminder. Focus on the miracle itself, not necessarily the physics of it. Okay, as we sort of mentally prepare to ascend further, let's quickly clarify something that can be confusing. The difference between heaven Samawat and paradise Jannah, are they the same thing?
No, they're absolutely distinct. It's an excellent question, actually. Samawat refers to the seven physical heavens, one above the other. The entire universe we know, all the galaxies, stars, everything exists within the lowest heaven, Sama al-Dunya, the heaven of this world. Jannah, or paradise, on the other hand, that's the ultimate reward for believers. It's located beyond these physical heavens, generally understood to be within the seventh heaven, or maybe starting in the sixth and expanding into the seventh. And just to give you a sense of scale, the distance between the first heaven and the one above it is said to be a journey of 500 years. And that distance repeats between each heaven. Beyond those, the Kursi, the footstool, and the throne of Allah are even vaster. It really illustrates the sheer grandeur of Allah's creation.
Wow, that puts the journey into incredible perspective. Okay, knowing that, let's go step by step through these seven heavens with Prophet Carry. What amazing beings and signs did he encounter at each level?
Right, so the journey through each heaven followed a kind of celestial protocol. At each gate, Angel Jibreel would ask for it to be opened. A dialogue would happen, confirming Jibreel's identity and Prophet Muhammad's deep presence and confirming he was sent for. Then there'd be a welcoming. He is welcomed. What an excellent visit is his. This whole sequence really highlights the importance of permission and also the angel's eagerness to greet him. So in the first heaven, he was welcomed by Prophet Adam, the father of humanity. He greeted him as, "O pious son and pious prophet." Prophet Adam was seen in a deeply moving state, laughing when looking right at the souls of his descendants going to paradise and weeping when looking left at the souls headed for hell. There's a powerful reflection there for us, as Dr. Ibrahim Nuhu points out. If we strive not to even say a word of displeasure to our earthly parents, how much more should we strive not to make our grandest father weep because of our actions?
That's a powerful thought.
Indeed. In the second heaven, he met Prophet Yahya, John, and Prophet Isa, Jesus, who were cousins. They welcomed him similarly. "O pious brother and pious prophet." Moving up to the third heaven, he met Prophet Joseph. Same warm welcome, "O pious brother and pious prophet." It's narrated that Yusuf had been given half of beauty. Scholars differ a bit on what this means. Maybe half of Prophet Muhammad's beauty, set out of humility, or perhaps half of Prophet Adam's beauty, since Adam was uniquely fashioned by Allah's own hands. Then the fourth heaven, Prophet Idris, Enoch, welcomed as, "O pious brother and pious prophet." It was noted that Allah had elevated him to an honorable status. In the fifth heaven, Prophet Harun, Aaron, welcomed as, "O pious brother and pious prophet." The sixth heaven brought a really moving encounter with Prophet Moses, again welcomed as, "O pious brother and pious prophet." But then Prophet Musa wept. He explained, "I weep because after me there has been sent as prophet a young man whose followers will enter paradise in greater numbers than my followers." Now, this isn't negative envy. It's seen as permissible jealousy, a kind of beautiful competition in goodness, striving to attain Allah's pleasure and get closer to paradise.
Competing in goodness, I like that.
Exactly. Finally, in the seventh heaven, he met Prophet Ibrahim. His greeting is slightly different, but just as warm. "O pious son and pious prophet." Prophet Ibrahim was seen leaning his back against Al-Bayt al-Mamur, the most frequented house in the heavens, like a celestial Kaaba. And Prophet Ibrahim sent his salam, his greetings of peace, to Prophet Muhammad's nation. And he gave a beautiful gift, a description of Jannah. He said it has pure soil, sweet water, it's a vast plain, and its seedlings are the phrases Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, and Allahu Akbar.
That's an extraordinary sequence. The specific order of the prophets, it feels very deliberate. Is there a deeper wisdom in who he met at each level, more than just introductions?
Oh, absolutely. There seems to be profound wisdom there. And it's definitely not about a hierarchy of blessings among the prophets. Think of them more like divinely chosen, welcoming committees, each offering a unique connection or lesson for the prophet's own journey. For instance, Adam, father of humanity, his expulsion from Jannah and eventual return. It subtly mirrors Prophet Muhammad's expulsion from Makkah and his eventual return. Isa and Yahya, chronologically closest, faced intense persecution from their people, much like the opposition Prophet Muhammad faced from the Quraysh and others. Yusuf, abandoned by family, endured trials, rose to power, family repented. It powerfully mirrors Prophet Muhammad's relatives initially rejecting him, but then accepting Islam after the conquest of Makkah. He even quoted Yusuf's words of forgiveness then.
Wow, the parallels are striking.
They really are. Idris, noted for being raised to a high place, resonates with Prophet Muhammad's message being elevated globally. Harun faced initial rejection, then acceptance, similar again to Prophet Muhammad's experience. Musa has the most similarities in terms of the prophetic journey dealing with large, difficult nations, receiving divine law. He was a huge inspiration, having suffered greatly and frankly had much more experience leading a nation at that point than even our prophet did. And Ibrahim, the Khalil of Allah, friend of Allah, represents the highest status. Meeting him in the seventh heavens signifies Prophet Muhammad's eon attainment of this status, plus his connection to Al-Bayt al-Mamur, the heavenly Kaaba, is so fitting since he built the earthly Kaaba.
It really paints a picture tailored specifically for him, connecting him to this incredible legacy. Amazing. Okay, beyond the prophets, he reached the Sidratul Muntaha, the farthest lote tree. That sounds almost mystical. What did he witness there?
Sidratul Muntaha. It's described as a place of unimaginable grandeur, yeah? Shrouded in colors, indescribable, with fruits like large jars and leaves like elephant ears. This is the ultimate boundary. It's where culminates everything that ascends from the earth and everything that descends from above. Even the knowledge of angels stops there. Only Prophet Muhammad, he have passed beyond it. At this point, he saw Angel Jibril in his true form for the second time, 600 wings, pearls and rubies falling from them. It's just magnificent. He also saw Al-Bayt al-Mamur, that most frequented house, directly above the Kaaba. And get this, 70,000 angels enter it daily to worship and never return. Just shows a scale. Prophet Ibrahim Igi was seen leaning on it. He also saw 4 rivers, 2 hidden in paradise and 2 visible ones identified as the Nile and Euphrates. And again, he was offered vessels, wine, milk, honey. He chose milk again. Jibril confirmed. This is the religion of Islam which you and your followers are following, reiterating that pure, natural essence.
And beyond that point, he heard the creaking of the pens. That sounds hugely significant regarding divine will. What does this mean? What about divine decrees or qadar?
Yes, the creaking of the pens. It refers to the ongoing writing of divine decrees, Qadar. Ultimately, what this observation shows is the sheer vastness, the intricacy of Allah's knowledge and his meticulous plan, from the eternal down to the daily. It's a reminder of his absolute sovereignty, while still acknowledging, our human agency within that divine framework. Basically, everything happens by his knowledge and will. For those interested in the details, scholars classify Qadr in different ways. There's Taqir al-Azli, the fixed, unchangeable decree in the preserved tablet written 50,000 years ago. Taqir al-Mutaki, made at Adam's creation when humanity testified to Allah. Taqdir al-Umri, determined for each baby around 4 months gestation, livelihood, deeds, death, blessed or wretched. Taqdir al-Hawli, the yearly Qadr decreed on Laylatul al-Qadr, given to the angels. And Taqdir al-Yawmi, the daily rulings. Now, it's important to understand, while changes might occur in the books the angels handle, that's Taqdir Mulak, these changes are already known by Allah and recorded in the preserved tablet, Taqdir al-Azli. So the creaking pens symbolize this active manifestation of his timeless decrees.
That's incredibly intricate. Wow. And this brings us to the climax, really the ultimate meeting with Allah himself. What happened? And what was the greatest gift brought back for the Ummah, the Muslim community?
Right, the absolute zenith. Angel Jibril stopped at Sidratul Muntaha. Prophet Muhammad too proceeded alone, reaching a station no other creation ever had. The details of this meeting, what happened, how long it lasted, we don't have them. It's beyond our comprehension, left to divine knowledge. What is known is the profound gift bestowed, the obligation of 50 daily prayers for his followers. And this is where Prophet Musa's earlier advice becomes so crucial. After getting this command, Musa advised Prophet Muhammad repeatedly to ask for a reduction. Based on his own experience with Bani Israel, he said, basically, your followers won't be able to handle 50 prayers a day. Allah say. Though Prophet Muhammad too felt ashamed to ask for so many reductions through Musa's persistence and his own pleas, it was eventually reduced to 5 daily prayers, an immense act of divine mercy. Allah declared, these are 5 prayers, and they are all equal to 50 in reward, for my word does not change.
5 with the reward of 50. That's amazing.
It is, and it's interesting why Musa intervened, not Ibrahim, who had the highest status. Ibrahim, the Khalilullah, friend of Allah, he exemplified complete submission, just total trust. Musa, Kalimullah, who spoke to Allah, had vast, often difficult experience with a large nation. He understood the practical challenges. His advice came from deep wisdom, experience, and real concern. Now, the question often comes up, did the Prophet Ki actually see Allah during Al-Mi'raj? According to the vast majority of scholars, no. The Messenger of Allah did not see Allah then. Narrations from Abu Dar quote the Prophet He saying, "He is light, how could I see him?" And his wife Aisha famously said, "If anyone tells you that Muhammad, he has seen his Lord, he is a liar. No vision can grasp him." So the greatest tangible outcome, the greatest gift from this journey was undeniably the 5 daily prayers, Salah. It's an obligation on every Muslim, the first pillar after the Shahada, the declaration of faith. The Prophet, he himself, despite the reduction, still prayed 50 rakat daily out of immense servitude. It's the first matter the slave will be brought to account for on the day of judgment.
It's a gift from Allah, but for us. We need to pray, not him. And the reward is 50-fold for 5. It's like the ultimate life hack for forgiveness, like bathing 5 times a day, as the Prophet has described it. One of his very last pieces of advice on his deathbed was the prayer, underscoring its absolute importance.
Incredible to think that Salah, our daily connection, comes directly from this cosmic event. Okay, beyond these core events, the sources mention other powerful encounters and observations. What else did the Prophet see witness?
Yeah, there were many other profound things. One significant detail was a discussion about the Day of Judgment between Prophet Muhammad, Ibrahim, Musa, and Isa. Prophet Isa stated only Allah knows the exact time, but he mentioned he'd descend to kill the Dajjal, and Yajuj and Majuj, Gog and Magog, would appear. After that, the hour would come like a pregnant woman whose family does not know when she will suddenly give birth. Sudden, unexpected. He also met Angel Malik, the gatekeeper of hell. It said Malik hasn't laughed since the creation of the hellfire, a chilling detail. And there was this beautiful, sweet fragrance in the heavens, revealed to be from Pharaoh's hairdresser and her children. Her story is amazing. She affirmed Allah as her Lord to Pharaoh, who then had her and her children thrown into a heated copper cow, likely a huge pot. In a miracle, her infant son spoke from the flames, encouraging her, saying worldly punishment is easier than the hereafters. Incredible faith. And another instance of speaking infants in Islamic tradition like Isa, Jiraj's companion, Yusuf's witness.
Astounding faith.
Truly. And he was also shown visions of paradise and hell. Important to note, he observed them, didn't enter them at this point. In paradise, he saw Al-Kawthar, a river of hollow pearls, musk representing abundance. He also heard Bilal's footsteps, Bilal, the caller to prayer, indicating his high rank in Jannah, attributed to his constant ablution and prayer. In hell, he saw vivid warnings, people scratching their chests and faces with copper nails, those who backbite, eating the flesh of others, destroying honor, people eating rotten meat, ignoring good meat, those who committed fornication, leaving the lawful for the forbidden, people with huge bellies trampled by animals, those who dealt in riba, usury, and preachers from his own nation, cutting their lips and tongues with fiery scissors, those who told others to do good but forgot themselves. Powerful lessons.
Very powerful visual warnings. So after all this Jerusalem, the heavens, these visions, the meeting the Prophet returns to Mecca, what was the reaction? Who stood by him?
Right, he returns, and his bed is still warm. Shows how time worked differently on this journey. He first told Hani, who advised caution, don't tell others, they won't believe you. But Prophet Muhammad, despite feeling anxious, bravely announced it publicly in the Haram, the sacred area in Mecca. Abu Jahl, a major opponent, sarcastically asked what happened, then gathered people, expecting a story to mock. The reaction was mixed. Laughter, mockery from some, stunned disbelief from others. Then came a test. Jubayr ibn Mut'im, who knew Jerusalem, challenged him with specific descriptions of Beit al-Maqdis. And in another miracle, Allah displayed Jerusalem in front of me, as the Prophet Key said, allowing him to describe it accurately, even though he'd traveled at night and the city was in ruins then. For more proof, he described 3 caravans he passed on the way back. Details about arrival times, a lost camel, even water he drank from one. And remarkably, these details were later confirmed by the caravans themselves when they arrived. But even with all that evidence, Abu Jahl just declared it clear sorcery.
Unbelievable rejection despite proof.
Exactly. But then you have the unwavering faith of Abu Bakr. When told about the journey, his immediate response was just, if he said it, he has spoken the truth. Simple as that. He rushed to the Prophet. He asked for details, and with each description, he just affirmed, you are truthful, and I witness that you are a true messenger of Allah. This immediate, unshakable belief earned him the title as a Tirasik, the truthful, the verifier of truth. His reaction is such a powerful example of that lesson in Surah Al-Hujurat. O believers, if an evildoer brings you news, verify it. Abu Bakr verified through his deep conviction in the Prophet's sheer truthfulness.
What an incredible testament to faith. Just amazing. So stepping back, what does this whole event, Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, mean for us today? What are the practical, enduring lessons?
Well, one major practical takeaway linking back to the date discussion is about celebrations. There shouldn't be specific celebrations or innovations tied to this event on fixed dates, like the 27th of Rajab. That practice is an innovation, without authentic basis from the first 3 generations of Islam, who knew the prophecy way best. The logic is simple. If those who lived, loved, supported, died for the Sunnah didn't commemorate it that way, then how can we? We could also draw really powerful lessons from Prophet Musa's jealousy and his advice. First, that permissible jealousy. Musa weeping because Prophet Muhammad's followers would enter Jannah more. It's about being inspired by others' goodness, wanting to strive harder ourselves for Allah's pleasure.
It should foster healthy striving. Second, Musa's advice highlights cooperation over competition. He helped Prophet Muhammad succeed for the Ummah. Even though it wasn't his direct achievement, it's a reminder. If you can't do it, help others learn from your experience, let them build higher. Helping others win brings double reward. Their victory becomes ours too, in a way.
And finally, there's a fascinating scholarly discussion about the best companion. The standard correct answer is Abu Bakr, absolutely. Best of the Sahaba, leader of Jannah's men. But some scholars, like Imam al-Dahabi and Imam ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, argue Prophet Isa also holds the status of the companion, Sahabi. Why? Because he met Prophet Muhammad alive in Jannah during Miraj, and he will descend at the end times, live and die as part of this ummah. So Isa uniquely holds the status of both prophet and companion. It's a very distinct point.
That's a really interesting perspective. What an incredible deep dive this has been. From the physical journey to spiritual heights, the lessons. It really pushes our understanding in faith, doesn't it?
It really does. And connecting it all, it brings up a question for us, I think. This journey solidified the Prophet's mission, gave us Salah, our direct link to the divine. But think about when it happened right after the immense hardship of the year of sadness, the rejection in Taif. What does this incredible divine intervention right then tell us about Allah's support for those who persevere in their duty, even when things seem hopeless?
That's a powerful question to end on. Think about that and how that principle might apply to the challenges you face. How can trusting in a greater plan, even when you can't see it, lead to your own ascension, your own breakthrough? Something to definitely mull over until our next deep dive.